Alrighty guys, just while this intro is playing, just a little heads up. The second half of the Beyond the Wall completely corrupted. So what I've done is I've included the first bit, which is a mess in itself. I've had to like re-record the second bit. So this Beyond the What will feel like a mess, guys. I'm so sorry. It was supposed to be very targeted towards Javi and David, and a lot of it is, but there is a big chunk of like something missing, you know, and I just can't remember what I spoke about. But that's all good. We will roll with the punches. We will just upload it anyway. And if anyone's got any more questions regarding these two characters, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll try and get to those in the final Beyond the Wall before we do the next episode of Telltale. Sorry about that, guys. Just bear with me. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, let's just get this started. I came out here, outside, with the attempt to record a video that's not stuck in my room. Unfortunately, I've just set everything up. It took me a while. It is currently, what time is it? 10:30 in the morning, so the sun is all on that side of the house right now. And one thing I didn't think about is it all just streams in. All streams in through the property. Like, you can't really see it. You can see it there, because there's a gap up there in the roof, but this is now the back of the house that I've come round to. And the sun's even streaming on the panel of our carport, blinding the crap out of me, might I say. I finally found a spot that feels reasonable to record in, and my camera's gonna die. So let me let me just introduce the video and maybe get out as much as I can out here, and then we'll skedaddle back inside. But I like being outside. I apologize for the cicadas, because cicada, dog, some kind of heavy machinery. There's a swimming pool. There's a swimming pool just over there, which has seemingly got something going on today, which I wasn't aware of until I came outside. There's a big park, so really maybe this was just a bad idea. But anyway, guys, why are we here? I'm here to record this nice and early today, so I can get something out today. I also have plans to record other stuff today, so I'm really gonna try dig my feet in today and get a bunch recorded. Obviously, we'll see how things go. We'll see how we do motivation-wise, guys. It's one of my days off. Obviously, as you guys would have heard in the last video, I had not the best week, if I'm completely honest with you, but damn. It's got to be swim sports, eh? I wonder how much you can actually hear that. This is a Beyond the What. We've done the Clementine one. I'm not sure how that was received. It was a bit of a waffler. The best place for me to start is going to be with Javi, because Javi really is the main character. There we go. This is the only real big question that I kind of want to address, because it is really the main question that you're sort of left with on the end of your tongue, you know, that little bitter taste. And that is the unknown about how Richmond progresses. Javi, now, as we've kind of been hinted toward, it is going to step up as the leader. I don't even know if that happens. I presume it does, guys. Look, I've got a bad feeling, and I have heard a little bit like this season kind of leaves us on a couple of cliffhangers, which, shit. I wish there was more source material, because I'd be straight on to that, you know. How do I feel like Javi would lead? You know, honestly, I have high hopes for Javi. The only things, obviously, that worry me that I feel like he's too much like myself. And then, I don't want to say that like, oh my god, I'm Javi, like, oh, that's so cool. No, I'm not saying that just to be like, oh, I'm like Javi. I'm saying this in kind of a negative way, you know. Like, a lot of my issues earlier on in the season, I was way too moral. I didn't know how to make tough decisions that other people perhaps made. And, you know, I think when you have different types of people around you, those decisions are often balanced out. You don't really notice them. But if you're really leading by yourself, all those decisions sort of pile onto your shoulders. And that can be tough. You know, like, if you've got to make a decision about someone's life in particular, I don't think that's going to be easy. And obviously, I played as Javi, so I don't really know if I played how the writers wanted me to play as him, how they designed Javi. That's the hard part, you know, because I'm thinking, how would I do leading a place like this? But it's not just me. I think Javi showed a lot about himself when his brother disappeared, and he stepped up as an uncle. You know, I know obviously he's got all that stuff in his past, you know, like he wasn't really there for his father as much as he needed to be, and he had a gambling issue or something, and he was in baseball and then he got banished from that, and like his life was in turmoil, you know. I always describe when it comes to the apocalypse, some people sort of get the apocalypse at the right time. Not saying there's ever a right time to have an apocalypse, but for certain characters, it sort of pushes their development a certain way. It's like a nudge, like a kick up the ass. You know how some people get, you can get a kick up the ass without having a full-blown goddamn apocalypse, I get that. But I kind of feel like that kind of came at the right time for Javi. And then we get the jump, and then we see him really really leading his family, and stepping up in David's absence, and becoming like a father figure and a husband sort of material, you know, like he really did evolve into himself. I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, I think we did, come the end of the series, I think we got the best Javi. I don't think we started with the best Javi, I think we got the best Javi. I think he needed a lot of development, and a lot of it was personal development, and maybe a bit of self-worth, and maybe a bit of just direction, you know, like, yeah, we got a lot of that, guys, and it gives me hope that, like, he's going to continue to go in a positive direction. I think the best thing about Javi is he kind of got all of his development when the right people were around him at the start. And I think that if you were to leave him on his own 2 feet now, I think he'd be fine. Not that he is alone, like I know he's got support systems, and I mean, God, flirtatious Jesus is there if he really needs, you know. So it's not like he's by himself, this is a community. I think the hardest thing now will be showing that you're the one to lead the people forward. The toughest part will be winning their trust, because they're all in a state right now of, they probably don't know who to trust, you know, like with everything that's just happened, with how Joan exposed herself. I think she really did reveal a lot about herself, which a lot of people would have been uncomfortable with. So it's going to take time for them to feel like Javi can be the right leader, but if anyone's going to be capable of doing that, I think it will be Javi. He just needs to find the right committee of people to help him make decisions that either he's not sure about, he doesn't have experience about, or maybe he just feels like he needs other people around to help confirm his thoughts, make him feel like he's not, you know. One thing I will say I've learned about these shows and these games and everything is if someone leads by themselves, a lot of the time it does not end well, because the pressure, the weight, it all builds up, and we saw it with Rick. We saw with Rick trying, you know, Rick really was like almost a sole leader for a long time. Until we did get that committee, he was making all those tough decisions, and he was bearing the brunt of everyone else in that group that didn't trust him. Like, I think one of the most upsetting things I remember in the show is when Carol didn't trust that he was the right one going forward, but then learnt to understand why he was so necessary for their group survival. So yeah, I think he needs the right people around him. Unfortunately, from the OG group of people, he doesn't have Clem, he only really has his son. He doesn't have his brother. I think actually, weirdly in a way, David may have helped him lead, you know, because David really is that side of realism, sometimes to the too extreme, but he really does push that point, you know, and make you think about, is this really necessary? Is going this far necessary? Is it the only way? It puts the point in our mind, and I think that's one of the benefits of having someone like that around. Same as Kenny, same as Shane even, you know, like he poses the question, which I think is always important. So yeah, to answer that question, do I think Javi will be a good fit for Richmond? Yes, I do. Do I think everyone that's there is going to stay? No, I don't. Do you remember when Rick took over, I always forget the name of that place now, we've gone through so many places and groups of people. Woodsboro? Woodsboro, was it? No, it wasn't Woodsboro. You guys know, the governor's spot. A lot of the people chose, well, not just even that one, let's look at a better example. Let's look at Dawn. Because if you're looking at leaders that were really going to the extremes to protect their people, Dawn was a perfect example of that. She was going so far to the extreme to the point where it was almost inhuman, right? To protect people, she was almost hurting them to try and keep them alive, you know? Like, and I think it's a pretty cool comparison to look at that, right? To look at Dawn. When Rick did go there and take over, a lot of them didn't choose to stay with him. You know, a lot of them chose, if not most of them chose, to try stand on their own feet. So my point is do I think that Richmond will look the way it did the day that Joan was there, the last day Joan was there? Do I think that the people will be the same, etc.? Not a chance in hell. I mean, there's not even to mention all the plot holes surrounding where Joan even is, where Kate is, because I've got a sick feeling that that'll be some connection. I don't even know if we ever find out about that, but story-wise going forward, that would have been the coolest plot to push. You know, Javi becoming the leader of this place, Joan coming back, pushing an agenda, you know, like, there's just so many possibilities. But yes, I do feel like he could lead. I genuinely do. To be a guy to come from what he came from. At one point in his life, he probably felt like he had everything. He had that all stripped back from him, and then the apocalypse hit. So really, Javi started the apocalypse with such little stability in my eyes. Like, can you imagine if David, that whole family and situation wasn't there? Can you imagine, would Javi have had the same development if he didn't have the family there to, like, sort of lean on? Would he even develop the same way? I'm genuinely not convinced, you know, because I think that it gave him a purpose to protect them, you know. It fueled, it's like a catalyst for his character development. But that's why, like, I think he's one of the coolest characters, because, you know, you start the series kind of not knowing whether he's the guy, and finishing it thinking, okay, yeah, he is the guy. And, you know, that's a culmination of everything that he went through. Do I have anything else I need to say? Like, I think the best thing about Javi leading this place is now I'm always going to have in my mind that Clementine has a way back, somewhere to be, a home. Like, we even get a brief conversation about that. You know, when she finds AJ, at least they've got somewhere to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next season ended with Clementine and AJ heading back towards Richmond, and then it kind of just gets left ambiguous. That wouldn't shock me if that's the style of ending we get. But if anyone other than Javi, I would be worried about Clementine's home situations, you know what I mean, as I have been for the entirety of the series. But being Javi, it makes me feel at ease. Where are we at? Do we have anything else to say about Javi, guys? Javi. How do we bridge this? How do we bridge this to now talk about David? You know what? I'm struggling to really put together how to, like, bridge this forward. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back inside now because my battery will die. I'm going to get this on the computer, and then I'm going to sit down and really think about what I want to talk about come the other two characters. I know I've got stuff I want to talk about with David, but I need to make sure that I don't miss anything out with Javi, because I think there's a lot there, you know, there's a lot that I want to talk about. Oh, you know what? Screw this. Alright guys, I'm pretty fuming. Gosh almighty. My effort to go and record outside today has created an issue. Listen to this. I'm going to play it to you, see if you can hear it a bit. Listen to this. You hear that? Now, I have about 27 minutes of that, and can you guess what that was? That was the second half of this Beyond the Wall. Well, more like second 3/4. The outside bit's alright, it's not the best. I don't think I'm going to go outside and record again with that microphone, I know that much, but I came back inside and went and sat down in my lounge and recorded the entirety of the David side of this Beyond the Wall. And it got good. It got really good. I got even a bit personal, and it's all gone. Now, you know when you record something once, recording it again, like there's the doesn't really feel like the passion's there. I'm gonna try my best to go over the points which I spoke about, but I've decided this is potentially a sign just to get this video out of the way. Oh my days, I kid you not, I don't know why, but Telltale in particular, I have so many hiccups. It doesn't matter what the Telltale video is, just hiccup, like so many things wrong in a row, and I can never work out why. And it's usually only with Telltale, like, well, touch wood. Usually with The Walking Dead, I don't have these issues. But anyway, we've got the first half done. I've already edited it. Not gonna lie, we didn't really say much. I am actually struggling with this Beyond the Wall, and I've kind of noticed that there isn't really much that I want to say about Javi. Now, in the second part, which I had recorded, I spoke about my favourite character and how the obvious choice would be to say Javi or Clementine, but if I'm talking from a writing perspective and what's getting my brain working and the character that I'm really thinking about, it's David. And I think this leads nicely as a transition, because I was struggling with what to say with Javi, and I just decided, look, let's just move on to David and worry about if we've missed anything with Javi in another video or at another point. We'll go give myself about 20 minutes to do this. I'll try and make it shorter. What do we talk about? We talk about why. Why do I like David so much? Why am I so lenient with him? Why have I not gone to extents to dislike him? Why did that character profile at the end of the game show me what it showed me? And my conclusion was this: I relate to him as someone who is it's a bit complicated in my family, the eldest boy, having a younger sibling and then an older sister. Like, I went through a lot of comparable things. Now, I don't want to say I spoke about it a lot, but I did sit down and I did have a little conversation in that corrupted file about my backstory and about how I felt that when I was growing up, I was like kind of the less capable, or I used to call myself the runt of the litter. Now, that sounds really horrible, but when I was younger, I used to feel like I was the least smart sibling. I was the least attractive sibling. I had zero self-confidence. I didn't think I looked very good at all. So I had the most like issues, like allergies and heart condition and all of this array of things. I was the only one out of all my siblings not to go into an advanced class. I was in just the standard as everyone else, which is cool, whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. I always felt like my father kind of was more proud of my brother. Like, anyway, the story, I kind of went on and on and on, and I sort of said that I didn't want to speak about it here because this isn't a video for that, and then I also went on to mention how I was happy to do a backstory video if people wanted it. If people really wanted to know about my past, like, I would more than happily share that. It's no longer a thing I keep private anymore. But I went on to just generally speak about how I really do feel like I can relate to David on an emotional level, on an understanding level of feeling like the brother that's less capable, or the disappointment. I didn't want to feel like the disappointment in the family, and I feel like I could relate to that. Can relate to that. And I think that's why I was as emotional as I was when he passed, because I had all this vision. I had this vision of his full circle, and I didn't feel like we got his full circle. I felt like once again the apocalypse robbed us of time, which I speak about a lot. The fact that we really don't have much time on our hands, and if they're not in the right place at the right time, and they're not at the right developmental point at the right time, it's only a matter of time before boom. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't last. And that was the biggest thing, most upsetting thing for me, is that we didn't get to see that full circle. We didn't get to see him realize how important Javi was to his family, and we didn't get to see him realize the man he wanted to be and stop worrying about the man Javi was. You know, like, we got little glimpses of it, and I think that's why it was so emotional, because we got little glimpses of it, and then that was it. If I can remember correctly, someone asked me, who do I think's more savable? And I think they said Kenny or David, and then I also wrote Shane into that. And I spoke for about 5 minutes about how I felt that David, out of all three, had people around him if he needed them. And if he did make big change, or if he did make effort, or if he were to collapse, he'd have people around him, you know. And it felt for me like Kenny didn't really have that. Not really. Nor did Shane, really. Shane had Rick, and then when Rick was sort of trying to lead, it kind of took that away. Shane and Kenny really had, like, the least support systems. And then when I went on to talk about how, if you put me in a situation would I kill them? In that scenario, I said, well, I think I would have killed Shane, and I did kill Kenny. Who's the one that I wouldn't or didn't? And that was David. I chose not to. It was just there was no part of me that wanted to do that. So I think that speaks enough of it in itself to me that I had the more hope in him, faith in him, that he would do better. So I kind of answered that question that way. Now, I can't remember what else I spoke about, guys. I just spoke a lot about David and how I felt like he was on a path which needed a certain amount of time, which was impossible to get, and yeah, I don't really know what else I said, I really did lose track. This whole thing happening has made me lose track, and it just feels so unnatural re-recording it, so I don't know if I'm gonna continue to record it or what. If I can think on the spot right now, is there anything else that I need to say about David or about Javi? And there's like nothing that's flinging to my mind. Maybe like the coolest part I felt about the game was at the end of the day, they were there for each other to an extent. You know, it was a really rocky road, but they finished together, fighting it together in name of their father. I thought that was a really cool, well written piece of the puzzle too. What else did I say, guys? Damn it. There's a really big part of me that's considering just not continuing this video and scrapping it now that it's been messed up so much. But like literally the biggest video chunk, 27 minutes of talking, and it was passionate talking as well, 27 whole minutes, and it just sounds like this. Okay, here we go. Let's just read this question out, because it was a good, well, not question, but it was a good message. And then I sort of went on to sort of talk about it. So the message was this. Okay, I think David had very big problems with self-worth, and here is why. He did say he tried to change Javi because he couldn't bring himself to change first. And I think it's in episode 1 that he says, "You think I'm jealous of you? Well, I was for a very long time." Now, let's just stop there. Yes, 100%. He was jealous of him. I think the problem with jealousy is it stops you from looking within and seeing the good in yourself. You know, like the positive qualities about you just become completely and utterly like blanketed by the jealousy. It almost makes you look like just a nasty character. So a lot of the series, you probably are. Well, we were getting quite pissed off with David. You know, a lot of it we were. And just imagine if the jealousy wasn't there. It was David who showed Javi how to play baseball, and Javi went on to be a superstar. You see, that would have stung. It's tough, you know. David has always struggled with money. Javi had so much he could gamble it away. He felt like their father loved Javi more than it loved him. Like, honestly, damn, man. Like, the guy was so focused on his brother, and you can't help but wish someone there was to help him feel like he was good enough. And then I think, actually, you know what? This is why I went on to talk about my own experiences, because I read this and I was like, okay, yeah. You know, it kind of makes me feel like how I felt when I was younger. I think all of this explains why I went on to become a soldier, because then there was purpose, and he had the army, etc. Felt like he was worth something. You see, there's something I really want to tell you guys, but I don't think I can really say. Not to do with the army, but something else. Yeah, I do 1000% believe that David struggled with self-worth, you know. Being the eldest, I imagine, is not easy too, because, you know, you like, there's no one really to... Like, I know with my little brothers, like, they will look to me or to my oldest other siblings for validation, or they will look to us to be proud of them. And I feel like someone like David probably hasn't felt that very many times, you know, someone feeling proud of them. And I think that's also where I bridge to talk about my own experiences, in the sense that I felt as a kid, my mum was always like around, but I don't have the most affectionate family, which I've always found really sad, you know, because I'm quite an affectionate person. I like hugs, and I like showing that I love people. And my family, my dad was not around from like 5. Like, my family split up. My dad would see us every second weekend, whatever, and then that kind of stopped happening. And then, yeah, we see him every now and then now, but it's just, you know, it's not like I don't have that typical American family, you know, like. And my mum, as amazing as she is, and has saved me from a lot of issues growing up, which I said I could also speak about too. She was never affectionate. She's an emotional person to an extent, but never affectionate. So when I was a kid, I used to really, really look for attention, Like, I was a troublemaker. I was a little shit, especially in school. And then moved to my dad's when I was a kid, because I thought that, I don't know, I wanted to for whatever reason. Went down a really bad path. Mum saved me from all of that, like, a couple years later. Like, it was a real messy couple of years for me, between like 13 and 17, even 18. But I always sought validation, and even now, even at this age, I will achieve something, and I'll think there and think to myself, you know, I don't feel like I've had like a male figure in my life that I've been able to, someone being proud of me, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's also I don't know how it is for girls, because I'm not a girl, but I feel like as a father, in a father and son relationship, a son will always look to their father for that validation. Sometimes that maybe a mother can't give, or maybe mothers can give, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying really, really hard not to batter my parents here, because I've genuinely, like, I'm still in contact with my father, and for all his flaws, I still love the guy. And my mum, I still live with my family. I like living with my family. I actually refuse to move out unless I have a reason to move out. Not that, like, they... Okay. That sounded weird. If they said to me, Daniel, you kind of got to piss off, like, I will leave. We've had long conversations before about how I've always had this weird connection to, you know, like, cultures where families stay and live together. I've always, like, fantasized that. Like, I just imagine when I'm older, living on, like, a farm, obviously, with not breeding animals, because that goes against my ethical beliefs. But, living on that, in that kind of property, like a rural property, where my kids, if I ever have kids, can go see their grandma whenever they want, or their auntie or their cousins, and they have this family that's all tightly knit, and everyone sees each other on Christmas, and, you know, like, that's my vision. Having a split family, such a divided family, I have this vision of that perfect utopic retirement. Why am I talking about this? Talking about David, for God's sakes. Can someone help me out here? I feel like David was missing a lot of the things I was missing in my life, and maybe are still missing. So I feel like on such an emotional level, I was relating to him, and that's why you saw me cry. That's why you see the emotion. That's why that's all there. That's why you see me trying to be a brother to him. Oh gosh, there's so much I wish I could tell you guys. I'm lost for words now, eh? Daniel, you dumbass. Why do you have to get so emotional? But the point is I think David was very well written. And I think of all the characters in the show, the reason I'm picking him as my favourite is because of how much he's getting me to think. And how much I feel like I have a connection to him. And I don't even know if that's intentional from the writers, or if it's just coincidence that I've been through what I've been through. It's just it's just such a shame. Like, I just imagine Javi and David being there for each other, like, from day one and just think of how things could be different. So different. And then I also, sorry, just to divert a bit, in that corrupt audio, I also went to talk about Kate a little bit. And then I kind of got like 2 minutes in and then went, I don't really have anything else to say. Like, I'm still kind of low-key pissed off that she theatrically kissed Javi in front of her, probably still a perceived partner, to create that domino effect. Like, what the actual hell is that, man? Oh my days, like, it still gets to me. So I honestly, I didn't really feel like there was anything else to say about her, and yeah. What I'm going to do, because this video's ended up a bit of a mess, and it doesn't really have much of a purpose, I'm still going to upload it, I'm still going to edit it, I'm going to put a little disclaimer at the start, just to say that this video's a mess because of some things that happened. I am going to continue on with The Walking Dead like normal. I'm going to do the remainder of the requested Beyond the Was that people have asked for regarding Telltale, aka alternate endings, aka stuff to do with Conrad, blah 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 blah. I'll do those, and then right before we start season 4, I will do a literal Q&A Beyond the War. But I think the importance is not to just waffle here and to just get something out, get this out, because it just it really has become a mess because of whatever bad omen hovers over Telltale. But yeah, anyway guys, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for new content every single week, and of course follow the Instagrams. There's 2 now, guys. The Wapocalypse and Dan Reed. Don't forget to follow those. And then also the Wapocalypse, the Discord version, because that's where we keep our most up-to-date chatter. Don't forget to follow that, guys. And yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say. Hey, look, if you do have more questions, put them in the comments of this video, and then I will also put a community post, and then I'll ask the Discord. I will check all 3. So if you have questions and I haven't gotten to something, feel free to ask it, guys. If anyone's wondering about The Walking Dead, that will be next. This is the only thing I have planned before I react to the next episode of The Walking Dead, and then boom, we keep on rolling with the punches. But yeah, guys, that's all from me. As ever, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.